Hi friends, welcome back to another Today in 10 or Less. Now today in class, you came into a fire starter again, and this is your last fire starter before your fire journals are due on Friday. Reminder, you have 8 total entries for your fire journal that need to be there. They need to be complete, they need to have thesis statements, which we remember is our topic, plus what we want to prove or explore, and then the supporting details that support that thesis statement, and then have some sort of conclusion. They must be at least 5 sentences each for that reason, and they can't be bullet pointed. They need to be full, complete answers. The fire journal, due Friday in its entirety, so you can get full credit on that. The other thing that's due Friday, I want to remind you, I don't usually talk about homework in this, but I do want to remind you, as long as I am talking about it, that also on this Friday, your first words of the week are due. Don't forget, you can go back to yesterday's post and get all of the instructions for word of the week and what you need to hand in on Friday. So you came into this fire starter. It said, what makes a piece of writing good? Sometimes you read something, you say, man, that was really good. That author's really good. That piece of writing was really good. That book was really good. What does that mean? What makes a piece of writing good? And I asked you to explain. Now, we had a discussion about how, since the purpose in writing is to make a connection with our audience, then the mark of a truly good piece of writing is that connection. That, man, we read this piece and we said, yeah, boom, I made this connection. But it's going to be important to explore what exactly allows an author to make that connection. We talked about a lot of things that help our understanding as readers, because we know that if we don't understand what we're reading as readers, we're never going to be able to connect to it. So we got into a brief discussion about the 6+1 traits of writing. Now, we didn't get into explaining them yet, but you guys remember from conversation today that we had that ideas and content, organization, voice, word choice, sentence fluency, and conventions all go into what makes a quality piece of writing, what makes a piece of writing good. You read it and you say, yeah, that was good. Those are what go into it. And we decided that when we make connections, when we ultimately make a connection with people, usually it's for 2 reasons. Actually, it's usually for 1 reason. We usually connect to their personality, who they are. Well, in their writing, who they are comes through in 2 of those dispositions, their voice and their word choice. If you think about it, if you mimic somebody you know's voice and you use the words that they use, doesn't their personality kind of tend to come out if you're mimicking them? Try it if you haven't. Impersonate somebody that you know and use the words that they do and speak like they speak, using their voice. And chances are you probably got a pretty good impression going of that person, and their personality is starting to come out. Now, content is another thing. Ideas and content is another thing that we tend to connect to. So those 3 things we established, ideas and content, voice and word choice, tend to be the things that people connect to the most. Well, it makes sense then that I wanted to make sure that I went back after we said that and really went back to your pre-writing examples that we did yesterday, that we studied yesterday in our notes. Because some of you were still a little hesitant to do your pre-writing activities last night because you were like, I still don't really get how this works. So we went back through and we came up with specific, concrete examples for each. Now, if you missed that, you're going to want to get together with one of your fellow classmates, or you're going to want to come see me during either a small group period or after school, because they were really specific to the stories that we talked about in class, in each individual class. So they're going to be different everywhere, so I can't exactly go through all of them on this board, or we'd be here for today in 45 minutes. And nobody wants to sit through that, right? So the important thing to keep in mind here, guys, is we have to know what we want to say and how we want to say it before we can ever hope to create a good piece of writing to which someone will connect as a reader to us as authors using our author's purpose. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow. We're going to get into really what are those 6+1 traits of writing? Okay, that +1 on the end, okay, I only said 6 of them: ideas and content, organization, voice, word choice, sentence fluency, conventions. The last one, the +1, is just presentation. It's just, does it look like you put in the effort and you care about it? It's not all crumpled, you didn't take a bite out of it, it doesn't have scribbles everywhere. That's presentation. I don't tend to grade you based on that, but I would hope that if you put your full effort into following the writer's process and really making sure that your ideas and content, your organization, your voice, your word choice, your sentence fluency, and your conventions are all taken care of, you should want to take some pride in that, and you should be willing to put forth your best effort, even in the way the final product looks. More on that tomorrow. Don't forget, your Firestarter will be right down below. We won't have any extra notes from today, but I will remind you of your homework down below. Thanks for stopping by. More to come tomorrow.